Hey, everybody. This is Nicole Kaufman, the Right Therapist, coming at you this week, the week of Valentine's Day. Hope everybody had a good one on Monday. And I'm really kind of going to get all over the board a little bit today with some thoughts that have been kind of kicking around in my head. And maybe you guys feel the same way about this. And I didn't know how to title this session this week. I guess the only title that I could really come up with was Lies the Left Are Telling You About Women. And so bear with me here while I go through this, because one thing that struck me this week big time was Adele's article that came out. Adele faces backlash for saying she loves being a woman at gender neutral awards show. So apparently the singer Adele won a ton of awards, and she got up there and she says, to accept her award, she said, "I understand why the name of this award has changed, but I really love being a woman and being a female artist. I do." Adele, and she said that very emphatically as the crowd cheered. "I'm really proud of us. I really, really am." And why in the world? I mean, my head exploded because I could not believe that Adele got such heated backlash for this, especially from the LGBTQ side. I don't even understand. They're calling her a TERF, which is a derogatory term for supposedly people who don't like trans people. And I'm not exactly understanding where this is coming from. And I'm sure folks from the trans community are going to come out and defend that reasoning somehow. But on its face, I don't understand why this is a big deal. And here's the other question that I have. And this, if you didn't watch my double standard episode last week, go back and have a watch at that, because these double standards now are just coming at me left and right. And it's killing me to have to try and square this circle around, okay, if we have to be mad at Adele for, apologizing for being a woman, where are the feminists in this? I mean, she's a very talented woman. She's sold millions of albums. And where are the feminists to defend her? Where are they? Crickets. We've got crickets with the feminists to defend Adele, but yet everybody else can go that say that they lost respect for her. And just 10 years ago, I'm old enough to remember when it was kind of cool to be a woman. I really am. But I'm also old enough to remember, especially when I graduated from college, that going and getting a job was the most important thing that you were supposed to do. And that, I think, really has been the agenda for the left, to kind of indoctrinate women into the idea that going to college and getting a job and having your career is the best thing that could possibly happen to you. Bar none, everything else is really not that big of a deal, but you better go to work and you better make the money and you better grab that bag and you better climb that corporate ladder because you can. And here's the thing. I don't think most women ever doubted that they could. I really don't. And the statistics are out now that college enrollment is actually going down overall among men and women, or young men and women, but it's still nearly 60% dominated, female dominated. College campuses are nearly 60% female dominated. Young men are not enrolling in college in near the numbers that women are. To that end, 50.1% of women are now childless. That is now, today, childless by age 30 years old. And so here's the thing, and this has been, to me, this really surreptitious lie that the left has told our young women, that, you really have to be okay with the idea, or we all have to be okay with the idea of not having children, of not having it all, that having a career, that's really important, and that you're probably not going to have it all, meaning having marriage, having a family, having children, that's really next to impossible, and that a career is actually the most important thing. So go ahead and do that, because we need you to show up that way. Here's my thing though, that we are now programmed to tell anybody who thinks traditionally or conservatively that, hey, I may really want to have children, or that would be one of my bucket list goals in life is to have a child and to possibly get married. Why would you want to just do that? That seems now kind of like a low goal to have for women, right? We expect them to go to college. We expect them to get all the good grades. We expect them to make partner at the law firm and work 80 hours a week. And at 80 hours a week with this high-powered career, when exactly do you have time for a personal life? When exactly do you have time for that? And if you're that driven, I just have a different mindset, I suppose. And everybody's entitled to that. I get it. And I'm not bashing folks who are career-minded. But what I will ask is, why aren't we holding the same esteem for women who do decide to get married, who do decide to have a family, who do decide to have a career or have some semblance of a career and have a family at the same time? And she might prioritize her family. She might have no desire of climbing the corporate ladder and just doing what she does because her family happens to be the highest priority. But we don't look at it that way, do we, in this society anymore? It's either go, go, go and reach the highest goal you can, or you've failed, or you're just a mom, or, does that even really count? And I'm just having a problem with the female role models that are kind of propped up for us right now. Who are we exactly supposed to look up to? Are we supposed to look up to women because of their accomplishments? Are we supposed to look up to Kamala Harris for going to South America and trying to figure out the root causes to immigration? Because from what I've seen, no root causes have been figured out. And even if we know what they are, our immigration problem still continues to explode. So I can't exactly look up to Kamala Harris for her accomplishments, can I? Really? But what AOC said the other day, AOC, who ends all of her sentences with a lilt in her voice that goes up, which makes you wonder, is she a doll that's actually talking? Or is she even really believing any of the things that she actually says? Because she said the other day that actually the reason that crime is going up is because of the child tax credits ending, and that now people had to steal baby formula. Is that, honestly, really, do you think that these homeless men are breaking into women's apartments in New York City and slitting their throats because of baby formula? Honestly. So are we supposed to look at AOC, the fresh-faced AOC, for her lightning tweets and for her fresh perspectives on what's happening? I can't think of someone who's more out of touch and who is obviously having a fabulous career at the expense of the American taxpayer. Are we supposed to look up to Whoopi Goldberg, who just got back from a 2-week suspension for saying horrible things about the Holocaust? But this woman, i.e. Karen Johnson, who gender appropriated her name, that's how she became Whoopi Goldberg, is she decided that having a last name like, I guess, Goldberg would get her more, showbiz gigs. But she came back and it just goes to say that, depending on what side of the aisle you live on, you can say truly horrible things and you won't be canceled. So then she doubled down this week that this is what we were paid to do, is to come on, I guess, The View and espouse these opinions. when they're not even informed? Who are we supposed to look up to when it comes to our female role models? I just don't understand where we're supposed to look anymore. Then we get to the CNN scandal this week with Jennifer Gallist and Jeff Zucker. So that whole organization is swirling the drain now. But what is really interesting is that this woman who has gotten to her position, and it was apparently very well known throughout the broadcasting industry that she and Jeff Zucker were together, even though both of them were married. And they had been together for some 20 years. But now Chris Cuomo, now that he's been drummed out, that, okay, he's going to say the quiet part out loud and say what everybody knows. And now Jeff Zucker and Jennifer Gallist have been let go from CNN. The other part of this is that she had a backlash. She really felt she couldn't believe that CNN would actually fire her after all of this. It said, Warner Media's statement is an attempt to retaliate against me and change the media narrative in the wake of their disastrous handling of the last 2 weeks. It is deeply disappointing, she says, that after spending the past 9 years defending and upholding CNN's highest standards of journalistic integrity, I would be treated this way as I leave. So you had an appropriate relationship for a really long time with the president of the company, and you can't be, you're kind of disappointed that the door hits you in the butt on the way out. Are you that disappointed? And this is someone who's, obviously put her career first. And I'm just trying to figure out, who are we supposed to look up to now as women? What if we can't be women? And the feminists are not going to come and defend us, then it's time for us to kind of reach and dig deep and find a little courage and say the quiet part out loud. And as women who are proud to be women, I would put myself as one of them. In fact, true story, when I was interviewing for jobs, I did my undergraduate education at UNC Chapel Hill, and I raced through school. I graduated in 3 years. I was excited to be done, couldn't wait to get a job, and did not realize how kind of ill-prepared I was for job interviewing in the job market. We weren't exactly doing mock interviews and preparing like we do now. LinkedIn didn't even exist, so I'm that old. So all this to say, I remember sitting down for an interview with a company, a major company, and that was interviewing on campus. And they asked me what my goals and objectives were. And before I could even think about how it sounded, the first thing I said was, well, I'd like to work for a little while, and then at some point I'd like to get married and have children. And there's no question that I was not asked back. I did not have that, I'm going to go to the top of the corporate ladder and rule everyone kind of attitude. I really did want to have kids, and I was blessed enough to have a son. And let me tell you something. I am going to say the quiet part out loud here. My son goes into the Air Force this September, and I am beyond proud of him. Raising this child has been the most rewarding career or thing that I've ever done in my entire life. I feel like I've raised a fantastic child. I joke that I'm in love with my own son. I'm sure there's a clinical term for that, right? But I do think my son is spectacular. I would like us to get to the point that instead of forgiving women for not having kids, we actually can say, you know what? Having kids is one of the most fantastic things you will ever do with your life. It is one of the most rewarding, one of the most fun, and the hardest thing you'll ever do. A lot harder, actually, than getting up every day and going into work. I think that women who think that work is hard, maybe in a way you shouldn't have kids because you have no idea how hard being a parent actually is if you think work is hard. But it is at the same time beyond rewarding. And I've had a lot of careers. I had several different careers and jobs before I became a therapist. And I'm saying, and I'm telling you right now, none of them were as fun to me and as rewarding as being a parent. And I would love us at some point in this society, in this culture, to get to the point where parents are proud to be parents and women can say that they would love to have a child and raise that child to be a good citizen and to be a good human being and to contribute to his or her community. Can we get back to that? Can we have the courage to say that now? I do think that with what's happened in Virginia, as far as the governorship going from Democratic to Republican, that we are moving in that direction, that parents now have a voice that they didn't have before. And people are listening to parents because parents have had just about enough of the left lying to them about who their children should be, what they should believe, and what they should be taught in school. I believe we're at a place now where parents are going to begin to take back what we believe belongs to us and belongs to us to teach to our children. Is everybody who's a parent a responsible parent? Absolutely not. I wish they could be. However, I believe we're getting to that point where we're ready to have the courage to say that part out loud, to say that we're a parent, and to have a stake in what we want our girls to aspire to, what we want our women to aspire to in this society. And we're getting ready to have a huge population dip if we don't somehow sell ourselves on the idea that having children is a beautiful thing in all of the ways. So all that to say, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.